Hey y'all, this is Dietra D and welcome to another episode of the Dietra D Show. This episode is a title that I love talking about. Some of y'all might be embarrassed to talk about it, but I'm not, and I promise it's going to be okay. So let's get into it. Today's topic is sex after 50 from a woman's point of view, of course. Now, I lost my virginity when I was 19, and I'm pretty sure, like a lot of other people out there, it might not have been the best experience. I know mine wasn't. The guy I was with, he was very kind, very gentle, but yeah, with that being my first time, it just wasn't anything to write home about. And after that first time, I'd say for a long time afterward, I'd say maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, there was a learning curve for me because even at 19, 20, 21, I was still learning, what I like, what turns me on, things like that, like most young people. But I finally got into a groove, sometime later in life. And I just recently had a birthday. I am now 53 years old. I'm tired. I love sex, just like most normal, healthy humans. I love sex. But to be perfectly honest, I'm at the stage in my life now that, again, even though I still love sex, I am perfectly content. I am perfectly happy with a drawer full of batteries and my toys, because I know what I like and I know where my spot is, and I am going to hit that spot every single time. I ended my last relationship, which lasted, I think, about 3 years. I ended that almost 3 years ago, and it was the best thing that I ever did. And I'm just tired, I love men. There are still a lot of good men out there, but I just don't want to be bothered. I really don't. And I know I'm not the only woman out there that feels that way, especially in our age bracket. I just don't want to be bothered. I can't lift my legs as high as I used to because I used to be a runner, and one of my knees is not as good as it used to, so I can't get on my knees and ride like I used to, which was one of my favorite positions. There's just a lot of things that, as a 53-year-old woman, my body is not capable of doing anymore. Plus the fact that I'm now going through perimenopause, you just don't want to be bothered. And again, you still love men, you still love sex, but like I say, give me one of my toys and I'm good to go. And something else that makes me not want to be bothered. Again, there's still some good men out there. And there are actually some men out there that know what they're doing in the bedroom. But there's still so many of y'all that don't. And it's such a huge turnoff. I mean, at 53 years old now, there is nothing that turns me on more than, 1, a man that can make me laugh, and 2, a man that can hold a good conversation with me. I mean, talk about anything for hours. I love a good, stimulating conversation. I promise you I do. Nothing turns me on more than those 2 things. Being able to make me laugh and a good conversation. I don't care how big your dick is, because let's be real, some of y'all, even in your 50s, you still don't know how to use it. You still don't know how to please a woman in it. So I don't care how big your dick is. And some of y'all, your dick don't even work. And if your dick doesn't work, can your mouth at least work? I'm not saying that to be mean. It is what it is. And like I say, I thrive on transparency on my show. So, yeah. And a lot of y'all, even men that are in your 40s and 50s and hell, even older than that, some of y'all still think that getting on top of a woman and just pumping for 15, 20, or 30 minutes, that's making love. It's not. No real woman, especially those of us that are mature women, that are in tune with our bodies, we don't like that. That's not making love. That's just sex. That's just fucking. No real woman wants that. I sure don't. It's not pleasing. And some of y'all have just, you don't even know what foreplay is anymore. Open your mouth. Talk to your woman. If you ask her a few simple questions, she'll tell you what she likes. She'll guide you to the point where she has an orgasm. I know I will. But right now, again, I'm at the point where you don't even have to talk to me because, like I say, I'm not interested. I'm happy being single right now. I'm happy with a good book, a glass of wine, and one of my favorite toys. I am content with that. And I don't want to speak for all women, but I'm willing to bet a good chunk of money that there's a lot of women in my age bracket out there listening to this that's shaking their heads in agreement. And don't even try with the playing games, because that doesn't work either. Because you can play a game only for so long until that mask drops. So don't think, oh, well, I can say this or I can do that, because you're not going to be able to sustain it. And a lot of us mature women, we see through that bullshit anyway. So yeah, I'm tired. I have a few aches going on right now. A few aches in my fingers, an ache in my back. So yeah, it is what it is. Sex can be wonderful after 50. But again, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to stimulate us. And we're not stimulated because you're in your 50s and you're walking around and you can still wear your pants sagging around your ass. That's not stimulating. That's not cute. That's not attractive in any way. You being in your 50s and wearing 50 gold chains around your neck, that's not stimulating to me in any way. And I'm sure it's not stimulating in any way to most other mature women. You hopping on top of us. And when I say us, again, that includes myself. Some of y'all hopping on top of us, grunting and sweating and thinking that you're doing something. That's not a turn on. What turns me on, and a lot of other grown mature women out there, is knowing how to caress our bodies. Knowing how to talk to us. Knowing how to open the door for us. And these are just simple things that any real man will do. Especially a real man that is in his 50s and older. I get a mirror sometimes, and I'll get in my bed and I'll spread my legs and just look down at my vagina. I'd rather do that than having a man crawl on top of me. I know this might be a bit much for y'all, but again, you'll be okay. This is an honest conversation that a lot of y'all are afraid to have. I'm not. I even talk to myself when I'm using one of my toys. That's another art that has been lost. One of my best boyfriends used to say the most beautiful things to me when we were in bed together. And this was when I was in my late 20s. And if I tell you that was such a turn on, and that's something that still turns me on today. But again, a lot of y'all have forgotten about that art. It has become lost. Talk to us. Talk to your women. I know plenty of women in my age bracket. They have a drawer full of toys because they feel the same way. One of them told me, "Girl, I just do not want to be bothered anymore." And this particular lady, she has a man in her life. But she actually told me during one of our conversations, "Girl, after we finish having sex, I always have to wind up getting one of my toys and going into the bathroom because he just does not hit my spot." That's not good. That's where that communication comes in. Talk to your woman. Some of y'all, all you concerned about is your needs in bed. And both of us should be satisfied. I'm not bashing men, but this particular episode just happens to be sex after 50 from a woman's perspective. Some of y'all, all y'all are concerned about is making sure that your woman suck your dick. That's fine, but after she gets through sucking your dick, are you going to eat her pussy? It's a two-way street. Stop being selfish. Learn what pleases us. Learn what pleases your woman. A lot of us like oral sex. And again, if your dick doesn't work, your mouth should. And hey, it's a plus if you know how to use both of them. But some of y'all got a limp dick and then turn around and have the audacity not to know how to use your mouth. That's a crime. Put on some soft music while you talk to your woman. I love music. That's another thing that puts me in a good mood for sex. Put on some old school R&B. Most of us love that. But now some of y'all, all y'all want to do is just grab your woman and just head for the bedroom. You don't want to have no kind of conversation. You don't want to pour a glass of wine. You don't want to put on a nice little old school song. You don't want to have a few laughs. Ask her how her day was. You don't want to do none of that. You just want to hop on top of her for 15, 20, or 30 minutes, if you last that long, and then hop off and go on about your business. You don't even care if she had an orgasm. You got yours, so that's all you care about. Stuff like that does not work for women when we hit a certain age. Now, of course, I didn't think it needed to be said, but to clarify, I'm not talking about females who accept the bare minimum. I'm talking about myself and other grown women, grown, mature women that know what they want and don't accept the bare minimum. This is who that conversation is for. And I can tell you again, me and a lot of the other older women out there, that's just not going to cut it anymore. You go to the grocery store and you got some old fool wearing his cap backwards, got a grill in his mouth, 50 gold chains around his neck, and his jeans sagging. And he thinks that's all he needs to grab a woman. Nope. You might can go out and grab you a piece of woman, but no real woman is turned on by that. Sorry. I'm not. And a lot of other women out there like myself, we're not turned on by that. Communication, laughter, those are the top two things that will turn a real woman, a mature woman, on. And I know that for a fact. I've had this conversation too many times with too many different older women of all races. Let's get that passion back into the bedroom. Let's dance. Whisper some sexy words into your woman's ears while you're dancing with her to a slow song. Caress every last one of her curves. Don't just slap her ass. And that's something right there that it just turns my stomach and it just turns me off. I don't understand it. That ass slapping during sex, that's a huge turn off for me. I don't like it. I think it's stupid and I don't know where it came from. But that ass slapping during sex, it needs to be retired. I don't know. I guess some girls like it, but I don't. I'm telling you, a good book, a nice glass of wine, and a good vibrator hits the spot for me nowadays every single time. So am I alone, women? Older women? Women after 50? I know some of y'all agree with me. Because again, I've had this conversation too many times with other older women. Let's finish the conversation. I want to know some of y'all's thoughts. What turns you on? What turns you off? Well, I'm going to sign off after that. This has been Dietra D. Thank you for listening to Sex After 50, a grown woman's point of view. Let's finish the conversation. I want to know what some of y'all think. Leave me some comments. I got thick skin. What did you like about the conversation? What turns you on? What turns you off? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye-bye.